Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 11th May 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. So today's quote is regarding poverty. So this quote which is given by Nelson Mandela. So according to him, to deny people their human rights is to deny their very humanity. So he is mainly talking about human rights. Now, human rights issues are seen highly in news, right? So here NHRC, it is seen highly in news. So you need to prepare some quotes regarding this human rights as well. So to deny people their human rights is to deny their very humanity. Okay. So in this way you have to prepare the quotes, okay, regarding if there is any topic in the news, so that quotes will be becoming very handy whenever you are writing your essay or even your mains answers. So now let us try to see first topic. It is important regarding your GS paper 3 under economy. So what is the important problem that we are facing in this economy? So important problem here is inflation. So what is this inflation? Whenever there is increasing of price of goods and services in the market, so that is called as inflation. So if we are talking about inflation, so we will be having mainly three types of inflation, that is demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, and as well as built-in inflation. So actually in your last year prelims, that is 2021 prelims, there were three questions which are mainly related to this inflation. And this year also you can expect those questions in this topic, okay, that is inflation topic. So please be prepared with your static portion of this inflation. So if you're talking about different types of inflation, that is demand pull. So whenever there is increasing of demand, for example, there are 10 breads are there. So for this 10 breads, 100 people are there in queue. So at that time the shopkeeper, he will be selling this bread cost, which will be like 2 times or 3 times or 10 times sometime. So in this way the cost of this bread is increasing. So this type of inflation is called as demand pull inflation. And next one is cost push inflation. Yes, to prepare this 10 breads, we need some raw material. For example, we need wheat flour and we need to go for processing. So whenever there is increasing of raw material cost and as well as logistic cost, so automatically price of this bread will be increased. So that is called as cost push inflation. And next one is built-in inflation. So because of increasing of standard of living of people, they will be moving, okay, they will be increasing their priority. For example, earlier they used to eat curd rice, but because of their increasing of salary, they will be moving to vegetable rice, okay, veg rice or veg biryani. So after that they will be moving towards non-veg. So because of this also, that will lead to the increasing of price of goods and services in the market. So this type is called as built-in inflation. So these are the some important types. So I want to give you a homework. So homework here is, you have to know what are the causes for inflation and what will be the impact of inflation on our economy, and you have to know about what can be measures, okay, that to be taken to control inflation from both the government side and also from central bank, that is our RBI side. So you have to think in these three dimensions or three perspectives. So don't forget about this. So this will be very important, especially from your mains point of view. So now let us try to see what is this article talking about. So here this article says that recently our RBI, that is Central Bank of India, which mainly came up with raising of repo rate, okay, raising of repo rate, that is 40 basis points, okay, and CRR, cash reserve ratio, by 50 basis point. So because we are facing inflation, so we are facing inflation in our economy. So mainly to control this economy, RBI came up with increasing of interest rates, that is 40 basis points of repo rate and 50 basis points of the CRR, that is cash reserve ratio. So because of this, so this is in news. So as you all know that inflation is not only seen in India, but almost all countries are facing this inflation. So this inflation can be also connected with this global geopolitics that are going on, right? So here, so if you're talking about the country like USA, what it did to control this inflation. So the worst situation which is mainly seen in USA. So in USA, CPI, consumer price inflation, okay, which is at 8.56%. Okay, so this percentage it did not reach, okay, for several decades. But now for the first time there is a CPI, consumer price inflation, that mainly about 8.56%, that is mainly recorded in USA. And if you're talking about the CPI, consumer price index, okay, consumer price index, which is mainly seen in India, it is about 6.95%. And in the month of April, we are going to see there will be somewhat increasing in this 6.95% of inflation. So what is the target of inflation that to be maintained in India? That is 4 plus or minus 2. So that will be like 2 to 6%. So but it had been crossed this limit of 6%. Now it is 6.95% as of month March. Okay, now as of month March, so it is about 6.95%, and in this April we are mainly expecting that there might be increasing of this CPI. So not only CPI but even wholesale price index inflation, which is mainly remain in double digits since April 2021. So this is also cause of concern. So these CPI and as well as WPI, they are evident that yes, inflation is seen in India. So what is the impact of this inflation on production? So because of this COVID-19 pandemic, so we came up with national-wide lockdown, and policymakers across the world, they are mainly focusing on how to revive the demand in the market. So due to this COVID-19 pandemic, so we came up with this national-wide lockdown, and after once this national-wide lockdown, which mainly removed, okay, or lifted, so here based on this case in the states, they went for imposition of this lockdown. So because of this lockdown, we went for movement restrictions. There is no proper production of goods and services, and people, they lost their jobs. And migrant people plight, we already saw in the number of newspapers during that time. And there is no proper income. There is increase in the demand for MG Narega scheme, and even government came with a number of schemes like Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana to provide food grains for the people, which is a free of cost. So like that, government also came with a number of measures in the agriculture sector, in manufacturing sector, in MSME sector, like that, right? So here in this way, here we can say there is increasing of government expenditure also, right? So now what happened? So we are mainly focusing on how to revive demand. So if you are having 100 rupees in the market, then only you will be going into the 100 rupees in your hand. So you will be going into the market and you will be making demands for the goods and services. If there is no money in your hands, means how can you go for a market and how can you demand for the goods and services, right? So without giving money, shopkeeper will be not giving you the goods, right? So in the same way, if we want to increase the demand, means so we need to go for increasing of government expenditure. So whenever government expenditure is increasing, that will leads to some amount of money in the hands of the people, and they will be going to market and they will be placing demands for the goods and services. And because of the severe lockdowns due to this COVID-19 pandemic, which mainly imposed restrictions on the mobility of goods and services as well. And on one hand, there is increasing of government expenditure, but even though government expenditure had been increased, it does not have any immediate result in the increased production. Okay, so it does not have any immediate result in the increasing of production in the countries where lockdown has been taken very seriously. And if you are talking about monetary policy in India, so who will come up with this monetary policy? That is RBI. So whenever there is situation of inflation, RBI come up with this monetary policy. Okay, and if you are talking from the government side of view, so government will be having this fiscal policy. So in this fiscal policy, it mainly talks about government expenditure. In this monetary policy, RBI mainly talks about interest rates, whether to increase or decrease interest rates. So based on this inflation in the market. So if you are talking about this monetary policy in India, so here RBI came up with keeping interest rates very low, such that it mainly focused that to increase the availability of money in the market, such that automatically it will leads to reviving of demand. But however, the growth rate of money was below the growth rate of reserve money. So because of this, here lower credit growth, which also depends on the business sentiment and as well as investment climate. So not only whenever these monetary policy decisions are taken by RBI, but even we need to focus on the credit growth, right, and we need to focus on the business sentiment and as well as investment climate, etc. So even as economy which mainly picked upstream in 2021 to 22, so inflation also became an issue here. Okay, so even economy has picked up stream in 2021 to 2022, so inflation also became an issue. So here many analysts, they mainly said that policy makers, they need to almost focus on increasing of prices of individual commodities, for example crude oil, and as well as we can see there is supply chain disruption. So many analysts, they said that because of increasing of cost of crude oil, that led to inflation. And next one is because of ongoing Russia-Ukraine war also, it is one of the primary cause for the inflation across the world. So but if you're talking about in true this situation, which is one of the reason, but it is not the sole reason, because there are also some other important factors that are mainly involved in this inflation. So inflation in India cannot be described as a just cost push inflation, but because of abundance of liquidity that is present in the market. So because of abundance of liquidity, so there is inflation that is mainly seen. And if you want to control this inflation, so we need to take a proper action on liquidity. So liquidity is very much needed with the concomitant rise of interest rates on deposits and as well as loan. So we need to focus on how to control this inflation. So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding measuring the change. So this article, which is mainly talking about National Family Health Survey 5, and we are going to see some highlights of this study. So here this article is important from your health point of view, which mainly comes in the GS paper 2. So actually in yesterday's lecture we studied that yes, 1% of women, they are consuming alcohol. So it is also data which is given in this National Family Health Survey 5. So now let us try to see this topic, and this topic is important from your mains, from not your prelims. So here recently 5th edition of this National Family Health Survey, and this National Family Health Survey which mainly provides valuable insights, valuable insights into the changes that had been seen in our Indian society. So this survey which is mainly focusing on what are the changes that we are seeing in our Indian society, and even it throws a light on traditional parameters, for example immunization among children, and as well as birth in the registered hospital facilities, and even nutrition levels. So along with that, it is also dealing with some important aspects of our society as well. So here the general improvement that is seen in these parameters, and there are some mixed signals regarding this nutrition according to this report. And if you are talking about child nutrition, so this child nutrition, so we are seeing it was a very minimal, and we are also seeing there is a very mere improvements in this obesity levels in the people as well. And this survey which mainly says that anemia, it is nothing but there is a low blood content, especially hemoglobin content is very low. So as you all know, HP, hemoglobin, is very important for carrying of oxygen to all the parts of the body. So because of this anemia, which will be having some impacts like giddiness will be there, weakness, lethargy, fatigue. So these are some signs and symptoms of anemia. So anemia which mainly caused because of decreasing of iron intake. Okay, and one more thing is decreasing of absorption, whatever the iron we are taking, but it is not absorbing in our body. So these are some important causes for this anemia. So if you're talking about this National Family Health Survey, so it mainly says that yes, there is prevalence of anemia. Okay, and here if you are comparing with the last survey that happened in 2015 to 2016, so when we are comparing with that details, so there is actually worsening of condition of this anemia which is mainly seen. And the major contribution it is insight to behavior and as well as sociological turn. So it will be also having some impact on the behavior and as well as society as well. So if we're talking about some highlights, it also focused on TFR, that is total fertility rate. So total fertility rate is nothing but, so within the reproductive age of women. So within the reproductive age of women, so how many child will be given birth by that woman, that is called as total fertility rate. As a total fertility rate which made it decrease to 2.1 in India. And if you are talking about next one, India's population that is seen in the trend of declining because of declining of this TFR. And if you are talking about fertility rate among Muslims, it is also dipped from 2.3 to dipped to 2.3 from 2.6. So in Muslims also there is decreasing of this TFR. So here TFR was 2.6 in 2015 to 2016 and now it is 2.3 in 2019 to 2021. And there is also sharpest among all religious communities when compared to that of 4.4 in National Health Survey of 1 in 1992 to 1993. So when we are comparing the data of 1992 to 1993 with this recent data, so it mainly says that yes, there is mainly decreasing of this fertility rate. And if you are talking about married women, so less than 1/3 of married women, they are working, and they are about 44%. They do not have the freedom to to go out the market alone. So out of the women who married, about 44% of women, they do not have much freedom to go out of them to go out for the market alone. And however 80% they had mainly said that they can refuse the demands of sex from her husband. So whenever woman has that right to refuse this demands of sex here, that means we can see there will be the less case of marital rape, right? So only in the rest of the 20% of women we can see this case of this marital rape. So this has implication for the legal questions surrounding this marital rape, and it means like 72% of this Indian men, they think that it is not the right to coerce, threaten or to use force on a woman if denied sex, which again points to a vast territory that needs to be covered in the educating men about equality. So here whenever women they are mainly refusing, means yes, they are having some empowerment. So we can say like there will be like decreasing of case of this marital rape. Okay, and next one is multiple surveys such as a National Family Health Survey, Sample Registration Survey, and as well as census, labor, economic surveys, and the ways of interrogation. They are necessary for the insights about a country as a vast and complex as India. So as you all know, India is the second largest populous country in the world, and in this country, so there is a need of conducting surveys like for example National Family Health Survey, registration survey, census and labor, economic surveys, and the way of interrogation is also very important. Okay, so here in this context the author mainly says that center need to invest more substantially in improving of their reliability. So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. Title says the grim 4 warnings of a global study on birds. So I think day before yesterday we studied about this article regarding global study on birds. So now let us try to see the important details which are given in this article. So this article is important from your environment and ecology, which mainly comes in your GS paper 3. So birds also plays an important role in our environment and ecology. So now let us try to understand what are the services which are provided by the birds, and you can appreciate yes, birds are very much necessary in our environment. So here if you see context, as you all know that the state of world's birds, okay, the state of world's birds report which may be released recently, and this report says that 48% of 10,994 surviving species of birds, they are mainly having some threat. There is declining of population of this 10,994 surviving species of the birds. So if we are talking about key findings of this report, it mainly says that the study found 5,245 or about 48% of existing bird species in the worldwide, they are known to be undergoing population decline. So there is a population decline that is seen. So how much amount? That is 48%. So about 4,295 or 39% of this bird species, they are mainly seeing some sign of increasing of population trends, and the remaining 37 species, they were unknown. About 73% of the species they are estimated to have less than 10,000 mature individuals, and 40% they have less than 2500 mature individuals, and almost 5% they have fewer than 50 mature individuals. So these are some highlights or data regarding this report. So if we are talking about what is the importance of these birds, yes, birds are very important in our environment and ecology. So as you all know, so we are having interaction between the abiotic components and as well as the biotic components. So birds are also integral part of our ecosystem. So birds also contribute towards ecosystem services. So it will be giving like providing directly or indirectly. So directly or indirectly it is mainly benefiting the humanity. For example, they are mainly helpful in provisioning, regulating, culture and as well as supporting services. So there are number of birds, they have culture importance. So there are number of tribal peoples, they used to mainly offer some prayers to some birds. For example, you can talk about the role of Great Indian Bustard, right? And even on Dasara, especially the Hindu community, so they will go and they will search for this one bird, okay, especially Hindus in our state. So in this way here, birds are also providing the culture importance, and they will be also having some supporting services. For example, they will be act as a pollinators. So we will be having the very small birds, for example hummingbirds. So they are very helpful in the pollination, and even so they will be eating the fruits, right? So fruits which are available on the trees, and in the way they are flying from one area to another area, so they will be also releasing that seeds. So in this way they will be also becoming a good seed dispersers. And next one is ecosystem engineers, and even some birds are scavengers. For example, you can talk about vultures or scavengers, and even some birds are predators. Okay, so in this way here they will facilitate accrual and as well as maintenance of biodiversity, and even they support human endeavors such as sustainable agriculture. So in agriculture, the most of the times we see like our crops are mainly infested by some worms sometimes. So here what happens, these birds are coming and they will be eating these worms. So in this way here that will be also helpful in the sustainable agriculture, so via pest control methods, right? And next one is, for example, so if you're talking about what are the role which is mainly played by the birds here is, so here coral reef fish productivity has been shown to increase because of the seabird colonies they recovered following rat eradication in this Chagos archipelago. So in this Chagos archipelago there is coral reef fish production. So because of this rat which is present there, so that is mainly affecting this coral reef fish productivity. But whenever there is a seabird colonies are developed means, so they mainly helpful in this coral reef fish productivity. And even I saw, I think 2 years back, so in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, or I think in the Lakshadweep Islands, so there was coconut cultivation. So at that time, so there were many pests that are mainly present in this coconut plantations in this Lakshadweep. So they mainly took some owls, okay. After that, what happened, that led to the decreasing of this worms that are mainly causing some damage to this coconut. So this is the news that I saw, that I read, I think 2 years back. So suddenly I got this into mind. So in this way, if you're intact with the current affairs, yes, that will be absolutely useful for writing your mains answers, right? So approximately about 45% of all extant bird species, they are mainly used in some way by the people. Okay, some people they will be used as pets. So especially recent days the trend is like growing of parrots, okay, rearing of parrots as a pets. So we are getting different kinds of breeds of parrots that will be available in the market, and we can go for rearing of them. And even sometimes we can also teach them how to speak as well. So parrots are well speakers as well. And if you're talking about threats for these birds, so first and the foremost thing here is land cover and land use change, which is mainly happening. So this study which mainly lists about 8 factors. The first one here is land cover, land use change, and there is also continued growth of human population, and per capita rates of consumption also led directly to conversion and as well as degradation of primary natural habitats. So whenever we are going for this land use change, okay, that will be having some impact on the natural habitat, and finally that will leads to consequent loss of biodiversity as well. And other factors mainly includes habitat fragmentation and degradation of their habitats. And even we are going for hunting, trapping of the birds, especially for our food. So it is also one important cause. And even there is some threat that will be posed by these birds from this alien or invasive species. And even sometimes we can see bird flu. So because of this bird flu, number of migrant birds, especially in this Chilika Lake and some important wetlands in India, they will be dying. Okay, so because of this bird flu, so this is one of important cause. And next one is even when we are having infrastructure development projects or energy demands, or whenever we are going for constructing of this wind or electricity, so these will be posing an important threat for this birds, especially by the wind. Whenever these windmills are moving, that will be causing harm for the birds which are mainly flying in this region. And especially when we are going for electrification or electrical lines, so that will be also having some impact. So because of this electric lines, so Great Indian Bustard, which is mainly causing much harm to this Great Indian Bustard, because the number of this Great Indian Bustard which is decreasing very rapidly, right? And even because of global trade communications and even climate change, so those are some important reasons for the declining of this birds population. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding minority tag centers U-turn IRC's Supreme Court. So this article is mainly talking about minority. So if we are talking about minority, so in our constitution some articles they are talking about minorities, but there is no clear-cut definition regarding minorities in our constitution. So this is one important prelims fact that you need to know. So this article is important from your GS paper to under polity. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. Let us try to understand what is the context. So our center, which mainly came up with a shifting stand on who can grant minority status to communities. Okay, so center mainly shifting the stand of who can grant minority status to these communities, which mainly left Supreme Court displeased on Tuesday. So what happened earlier, Central said that yes, state also have the right to mainly come up or to grant minority status for the communities. So on March 25th, the Ministry of Minority Affairs in an affidavit told the court that both central government and as well as state government, they had a concurrent power to notify minorities. So it had even said that state could also recognize a community as a minority. Hardly 2 months later, here there is a shifting of stand of center which is mainly seen. So now let us try to see who are minorities which are notified by the government of India. So currently you are having a one section, that is section 2C of National Commission for Minorities Act of 1992. So here under this section, which mainly says that central government, they are mainly responsible for coming up with or setting up of or to decide whether it is a minority or not. And later on in 1992, we came up with this enactment of this National Commission for Minorities Act of 1992, and later on here this Minority Commission, which became a statutory body, and later on renamed as this National Commission for Minorities. And later on in 1993, so first statutory National Commission which was mainly set up, and under this there are 5 religious communities like Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Zoroastrians, and Zoroastrians means nothing but Parsis, and Buddhists, they were notified as minority communities. And next one is in 2014, even Jains also considered as a minority community. So if we are talking about some articles which mainly talks about this minorities in our constitution, or so first one is Article 21, second one is Article 30, and next one is Article 30. Okay. So now let us try to see some important things regarding this Article 29 and Article 30 of Indian Constitution. So if we are talking about Article 29, it mainly provides that any section of citizens who are residing in any part of India, having a distinct language, script or culture of its own, they shall have the right to conserve the same. So if there is any section of citizens, they are having distinct language, script and culture, so it is their right to protect their culture. And here it mainly grants the protection of both religious and as well as linguistic minorities. So this is about this Article 29. And if you are talking about Article 30, Article 30 says that all minorities shall have the right to establish and administer their education institutions of their choice. So under this Article 30, which mainly confined only to minorities, they mainly either religious minorities or the linguistic minorities, but it does not extend to any sections of citizens under this Article 29. So these are the two important articles which mainly talks about minorities in our constitution. And next topic, it is about more stringent norms for the social media platforms in the works. So this article is important regarding GS paper 2 under governance. So now let us try to talk about this topic in a great detail. So you can use this article as a case study, like whenever you are writing any essay regarding the social media, there you can use this article. So if you see context, it mainly says that, so the government is working to bring in more stringent norms for social media platforms, and they mainly aimed at increasing of accountability for content of these platforms, and which may also leads to dilution of safe harbor rules that protects the intermediaries from being held liable for third party content on their platform. So government is just mainly trying to bring out some stringent, that is strict norms for the social media platforms, and these norms are focusing especially to increase accountability for the content they are using in those platforms, and it also helps mainly to dilute of safe harbor rules such that it mainly protects the intermediaries as well. So if you're talking about some important details which are given, so today internet, social media and digital platform, they became as an important part of our life. So even when we are waking up, okay, so at that time onwards till we are getting asleep, okay, by 11 or 12 in the night, so we will be using the social media platforms. For example, you can talk about Instagram became very much famous, okay, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, like that. So here today internet, social media and digital platforms, they became an important part of our life. So here we need we have great advantage. For example, we can book important things that we want, okay, for example groceries, clothes and some important stationery, etc. we can directly book on online, okay. Even Instagram also, it is one of the important advertisement platform as well, okay. But we are having the advantages, on the same hand we are also having the risk as well. So there are a number of scams that we are seeing in the news regarding Facebook. So with a fake profile, they are mainly trapping women and they are mainly getting some money from this woman, right? So because of this, we can say like, so there we have both advantages and as well as disadvantages regarding this social media in the way we are using that. So we have to see how do we accelerate that advantage, and at the same time we need to reduce the risk. So here our target is to increase the advantage of using of the social media, and next one is we need to decrease the risk here. So how to mitigate the risk? So these are some important things that are mainly present before us, and whatever the legal structure which is present, so that need to be very much helpful for the cyber security as well. And other key elements are accountability of social media and even protection of personal data as well. And if you look at Europe, East Asia and many states of United States, so each and every place it is mainly moving towards more accountability of social media, okay. So this is about this topic. So here you can talk about the case studies like United States, what it is doing, East Asian countries, what they are doing, and even European countries, what are the steps they are taking, especially to move towards more accountability. So in the same way, India should also come up with that lines, and also we can take some steps to increase the accountability and to maintain the privacy of information of the people. And next topic, it is regarding debt norms, cloud states borrowing. So here we need to know about some important articles of Indian Constitution which mainly focuses on states borrowing. So now let us try to see this topic. So this topic is important from your GS paper 2 under polity and even from GS paper 3 under your economy. So if you are talking about context, it mainly says that with the state's borrowing limit for this year set to be cut in tune with their off-budget borrowing since 2020 to 2021. So in this 2020 to 2021, yes, central government which mainly increased the state borrowing because at that time there is no proper GST collections. So there is decreasing of this GST compensation cess as well. So at that time, here central government do not have enough money mainly to provide, okay, funds for the states for the compensation. So at that time, central government mainly increased this borrowing limit of the states. So now here year, what happened this year, the state's borrowing limits of this year, which mainly set to cut by the center now. So now let us try to see some important details. So if you see details, it mainly says that while the rating agency which mainly expects states to borrow about rupees 8.4 lakh crore during this financial year 2023, and there is a borrowing, the borrowing limit here is 3.5% of this GSDP, that is gross state domestic product. So on this gross state domestic product, they can go for borrowing of about 3.5%. Okay, so here this is the one important thing. So if you're talking about articles, you need to know about Article 292 of our Indian Constitution and even Article 293 of Indian Constitution. So if you're talking about Article 293, so the subject to the provisions of this article, it is mainly focusing on the executive power of states extended to borrowing within the territory of India upon the security of this consolidated fund of state. So by using this security, that is consolidated fund of state, they can go for borrowing. So this is the thing which mainly said in this article 293 of Indian Constitution. And the government of India, okay, so we have government of India, and here by the time to time here, the law which is made by the parliament can increase or decrease this limit. Okay, and under Article 292 of Indian Constitution, which mainly talks about the limits which mainly fixed. Okay, so the limits will be fixed by this Article 293. The power will be given to the law of parliament, and state may not, without the consent of government of India, can raise any loan if there is still outstanding any part of the loan which has been made to the state by the government of India. So here if it want to increase the loan, means without consent of government of India, it cannot go for raising of money. So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see yesterday's questions. So first question, it is regarding this Article 3 of Indian Constitution. So the first one is, according to the Constitution of India, Article 3 authorizes the Parliament to recognize the states. With this authority, Parliament can alter the name of state, yes. Parliament can diminish the area of state, yes. Can alter the boundaries, yes. And increase the area of any states, yes. So because of this, we can say undestructible union with the destructible states. So the correct answer will be 4, all the above. And next question is regarding Article 13 of Indian Constitution. So Article 13, which mainly talks about law. So the term law, which mainly includes the permanent laws which are mainly enacted by our parliament and even our state legislature, and temporary laws like, for example, ordinance according to Article 213 and as well as Article 123. So which mainly talks about power of ordinance making of president as well as our governor. So president's ordinance making power is Article 123 and governors is Article 213 of Indian Constitution, and also includes even statutory instruments. Okay, and next one is any bylaw or rules or regulations or notification, that will also comes under this, and even non-legislative source of law, which mainly also comes under this. So here the first one is ordinances, yes. Next one is law which is enacted by the parliament and state legislature, yes. And next one is notification by executive, yes. Next one is bylaws, yes. So all above is the correct answer. And today's questions are, the first one, it is regarding this DPSP, which is comes under this part 4 of Indian Constitution. And next question, it is regarding fundamental rights. So please try to read the statements and give me the correct option in the comment box. So now let me make a small announcement. So we in Rathod's IAS, we came up with this answer writing practice course. So actually, because of some students' request, so we are increasing this registrations for today also. So this registrations for this course will be also open for today till 9 PM. So try to join this course as soon as possible. And actually, I think you know about the key features of this course. So if you have any queries, so please call us on this number 8074765513. And one more thing is, we already launched this Rathod's IAS foundational course through this pen drive. So if you want to take this pen drive, you can call me on this number 8074765513. And if you have any queries, so you can call me on this number. And in this course, we are providing 2 pen drives for you. And in the first pen drive, we will be giving you the important static syllabus, and the second one will be the dynamic along with some other subjects. And whatever the videos that we are providing in this pen drive, so they are updated videos with the recent current affairs, and recordings are still going on for some subjects. Okay, so you can believe on this courses that we are providing, and you can completely rely on these courses. And if you want to take any single module like only history, only geography, only ethics, economy, like that, you can also take the single modules. And if you want to take entire GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, you can also take like that. So if you have any queries, so please call us on this number. And if you want to watch the demo videos, please visit our website rathodsisacademy.com. So there you have to register first, and after registering you can click on the course list and you can see the courses that we are offering, and you have to click on play. Okay, play course. Then you will be getting 3 demo videos. So you can watch those 3 demo videos. After watching those demo videos only, you can go for payment of the course. And now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So this is our today's Hindu. Date is 11th May and this is Delhi edition. So first article, it is about, can sedition accused get protection, ask Supreme Court. So once this everything which is done, okay, proceedings of this section 124A of Indian Constitution is done, means we are going to talk about this. So actually in yesterday's paper, there is one article regarding there are some outdated laws which are present. So this is the thing which mainly said by CJI and as well as our Prime Minister. So our CJI, he mainly talked about the section 124A of Indian Constitution. But if you're talking about some examples of other outdated laws, first one is Epidemics Act, okay, and next one is we can talk about Santals Act, and next one it is about Treasuries Act. So these are the 3 important things that you have to remember. And next topic here, it is about death toll in Sri Lanka rises to 8. So what happened in this Sri Lanka? So PM, he mainly resigned, okay, for the post of this PM of this Sri Lanka. And later on, what happened? Sri Lankan police criminal investigation department, which has been tasked with probing of attack on anti-government protesters. And the next one is minorities tag. I discussed this topic. And next one is demonstration outside this Qutub Minar leaves this tourist bluffed. So here in this context, you need to know the architecture regarding this Qutub Minar. So who mainly built which story? So this is also very important question from this Qutub Minar. That is important from your art and culture point of view. And if you move in the city page, I found nothing much important. And if you move next in the state page also, I didn't found anything important. And you can see this editorial page, I discussed this inflation topic. I discussed regarding this measuring of change, that is National Family Health Survey. And there is one article regarding this FSSAI should be impartial and uninfluenced by some food industry which has to control and regulate. So if you want, you can refer this article, but it is not much important from UPSC point of view. And there is one article which is important, that is Russia and Ukraine conflict. So here it is a time for India to draw some interim lessons from this. Okay, so you can also refer that. And there is one article regarding this missiles threat loom large. So actually this article which is mainly talking about one disease, missiles. So let me know which is a parasite, like it is a bacterial infection or viral infection or protozoal infection that is mainly causing this missiles. So you have to know that. So that will be like a potential prelim statement. So in India, missiles cases more than doubled in the first 2 months. Okay, so this is the thing, it is one of the worrying sign I can say. So if you see this chart, we can say there is rising of this missiles cases that is mainly seen. And even if you are going for vaccines coverage as well. So for this missiles, we have vaccine. Okay, so this chart which mainly shows the coverage of first and second dose of this vaccines. And you can talk about what are the important causes for this missiles transmission. And you can talk about signs, symptoms here, treatment also. So in these areas you need to focus. And if you see in this text and context, I discussed this global study on birds. And you can also refer this algebra system. So regarding this algebra, there is also one article which appeared in our yesterday's newspaper. And in this newspaper page, so CBI NAB 6 FCR division officials to graft charge. So here you need to focus on this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. So it is seen in news from September 2021 onwards. And next article, it is regarding plans underway on creation of integral battle groups. So you need to know what is this integral battle groups. So this is also very important. And if you move forward in this news page, I discussed about the social media platforms. And if you see this world page, Russia pounds vital port of Odessa targeting supply chains. So here because of this Russia-Ukraine crisis, so there are a number of ports which are present in news. So you have to open the map and you have to see which are the ports which are mainly seen in this Ukraine part, and you have to see this water like Black Sea, Sea of Marmara, Aegean Sea, and as well as Mediterranean Sea, and straits which are present here, and you have to know about Turkish states as well. So this will be very important. And next one is debt norms, cloud states borrowing. I discussed this topic. And next topic, it is about cotton textile exports hit 15.29 billion, beat target. So this article is also very important, and you have to know about what are the favorable conditions for the growing of cotton, and you have to also see the which is the country which is the largest exporter of cotton and largest producer of cotton. And this one is discom supply cost to rise 5% on coal imports. So whenever they are importing the coal, as we know that earlier it is like $50 for 1 ton of coal, but now it is like $400 for 1 ton. So because of this, the power cost will also going to be increased, and discom's supply cost to rise also. So this is the one important thing, and these are some important articles that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy, and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.